Okay, again at the Inland Empire. This station here is what we call our T stations. They're homemade. The reason for these guys is you can put more bait in it. If you can get 3, 4, 5 pounds of bait in this, that's the best thing, because the ground squirrels have to eat this stuff over a 5 to 7 day period, constantly eating some, a little every day, for the active ingredient in it to build up in their bodies before it knocks them off. Now these stations should be stationed about anywhere from 100 to 75 feet apart, depending on the level of activity. This place was so bad, they're so heavily infested, that we used a bunch of the green stations, pounded those down right next to their burrows. But you can see all the old burrows still filled in, no activity. But here we've got one that we filled in before and it's opened. Now that's telling us that we've got an active ground squirrel here. So that station over there should control this guy, so we'll just let that be and fill it up. If you look here, these are still partially filled in, but someone's tried to get into them, so we're going to fill those in again, and then we'll continue on our journey down here, see how well we've been doing. Again, for you guys, you do-it-yourselfers or your pros, just one of the techniques that we use is we go in and we fill the holes in to see what's active and what's not. You can see that one's filled up. There's no action there. Here's one of the small Wilco stations. We'll check that a little bit later. Filled in hole, no activity there. Now we're moving into the area that was the most heavy infested area of the place. Now this is a holding basin. This is a sanitation plant. Recycle water and that kind of stuff. Get heavy rains and things, water goes down in these basins. So as I'm scanning through this, you can see a little green station there, another one there, there, all the way across. There's 3 or 4 out in that area, and then there's one way off in the distance. And then we have some station along this fence line. That fence line is where the squirrels are coming from that have infested this property. So we take a look. Anything opened up? Not really. Nothing there, that's closed off. So once we check this, we may have the ability to move that guy into a more active area. You see we've got him up there, because what was happening, this was all infested really bad. Now this one's opened up, so that's not good, so we'll have to leave that there. But they were migrating out of here and moving that way, and that's where the solar panels were at. So we had a big nesting area here that was causing problems over there, another big nesting area over on the other side. They were coming that way too. So you can't always just put the stations up in that area. You got to find where their nests are at and go after the nest. And you can see these all holes. None of them have opened back up. That's good. So these all have the potential to be moved if we don't find any new activity. Here's another one of our little stations here. Nothing going on here, nothing going on here. Let's check this guy out. Okay, this was a hole that we had closed up. It's open, so we really can't move that guy right now until activity stops. Another spot, but take a look. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's spider webs in there. So somebody dug that out, and it usually takes a few days before the spider webs can accumulate. But if you see that, that's telling you no squirrel's been in and out of that for a few days. So we're going to fill this guy back in. And again, this station that was set here to cover this area will not be moved. This hole over here, going back to that guy, I should have filled it in when I was there. No spider webs in this thing, no trash. continue on our adventure here. You can see the holes we filled in, no activity, but there's activity here. There's no spider webs in it, nothing to indicate that activity has stopped there. So that station won't be moved. One of the things with ground squirrels is they tunnel into things. They can undermine this embankment here, so if the water ever came up, we ever get any rain here in SoCal, water will drain down in there and break the compacted part of the levee here and may breach it. And what would happen is this dirt would just start sliding. And this one, no, not much. There's some spider webs in there. I don't know if you can see the spider webs in there. So this one hasn't been used for a while. So we're going to fill it in. So it'll be obvious if they use it again. Okay, you can see the holes we filled in there. Now we're getting into a really heavily infested area. That hole's been used. We'll fill it in. That bait station will stay there until this stops. Now this type of cactus plant is a big one for ground squirrels. They love this. There'll be little pieces of fruit on it. These guys right here, they love that stuff. They really do. So normally if you see cactus like this in an open area like this, you're probably going to have ground squirrels around it. So let's check down here. We got several active tunnels. Again, we go back in. Fill it up so we can tell if anybody's been going in there. See some spider webs in that one. Fill this guy in too. Big mistake that homeowners make when they're trying to do this is they don't put enough bait in their bait stations. Again, I brought it up where they have to have at least 1 pound in these green stations, at least 1 pound per station. And 1 pound will probably last you a week, which means you're going to have to come back in a week and check them. Now let's look over here. A lot of activity. A lot. So these stations are going to have to be kept up. We'll fill this stuff in. Yeah, this is still heavy. You can see some tunnels that we collapsed here. Tunnels collapsed here. No re-entry. So at this point, as we go along, any of these stations, like I said, that we can move, where the activity has stopped in that area, we'll go along that fence line out there. These little green stations, they're good for about 75 to 100 yards. They can draw in ground squirrels from that kind of area, so we'll be killing the ground squirrels on the other side as we go along with this program.